He learned to shut it off before the feeling could take shape. He did it so young that by the time he was a man, the mechanism had run automatically for longer than he could remember. He did not decide to stop feeling. He stopped having to decide. He shows up. He answers when spoken to. He handles what needs to be handled. If you asked him what he is feeling, he would have to stop and check. The checking itself is the evidence. A man connected to his emotional experience does not need to check. He knows because the signal is already there. This man has to go looking for a signal that stopped broadcasting years ago. Something rises in his chest, a tightness or a heat or a pressure he does not have a name for, and before it can become anything recognizable, it is gone. Not processed, not resolved, routed. The door closes and he is fine again. He has been fine so many times he has stopped wondering whether fine is a feeling or the absence of one. The people around him notice it in fragments. A partner who says he never tells her what she wants to know. A friend who gets surface answers to direct questions. Children who learn that certain topics do not get raised. He is not hiding from them or from himself. He has simply stopped receiving the transmission from his own interior. This looks like strength from outside. He is the calm one, the one who does not fall apart when things get hard. The cost is not visible to anyone watching. The cost is what happens inside, in the space where feelings used to arrive, and now only a quiet vigilance arrives, always waiting for the next thing that will need to be handled without feeling it. The shutdown is not an absence of emotion. It is an active process that costs energy to maintain. James Gross at Stanford University has spent decades studying what happens when a person suppresses an emotional response. His research describes suppression as a response modulation strategy, a late-stage intervention that occurs after the emotion has already been generated. By the time the man intervenes, the emotion has already activated. The heart rate has already changed. The stress hormones have already been released. Suppression does not prevent the activation. It prevents the experience of it while the body continues to carry the activation in full. This is the central misunderstanding about men who shut down. They are not unfeeling. They are actively suppressing feeling, and the suppression itself is physiologically expensive. Gross and his colleagues found that suppression increases sympathetic nervous system activity. The heart beats faster. The blood pressure rises. The body works harder to hide the evidence than it would work to let the evidence show. The man who shuts down is in a state of quiet physiological effort. Composure is a performance that costs him something every time he performs it. The mechanism forms early. Most men who shut down as adults began the pattern before they could decide whether it served them. A boy learns, through 1,000 small interactions, that certain emotional expressions produce discomfort in the people around him. His sadness makes his mother anxious. His anger frightens people he depends on. He does not consciously choose to stop feeling. He learns at the level of the nervous system that feeling costs more than not feeling. The door closes before he knows there is a door. Niobe at NYU documented this in her longitudinal research on male friendship. Boys in early adolescence describe their closest male friendships with the same emotional depth that girls use. They speak about trust, about needing each other. By late adolescence, something shifts. The same boys use a different vocabulary. They speak about doing things together instead of being known by each other. What Way documented is not the loss of friendship. It is the loss of access to the language for it. The feeling may still be present. The capacity to name it has been shut down. The adaptation worked. The punishment stopped. The problem is that the adaptation never updates. A boy's solution still running in an adult man's life, treating every interpersonal moment as a threat to manage rather than a connection to receive. The shutdown compounds. A man who has been suppressing emotional responses for 20 or 30 years is not just suppressing the big feelings, he is suppressing everything. The system designed for acute threats has become the default setting for all emotional experience. The first thing that goes is the capacity to name what he is feeling. This is not a vocabulary problem, it is a neurological problem. The pathways connecting bodily sensation to cognitive labeling weaken from disuse. James Pennebaker at the University of Texas spent his career studying what happens when people either express or inhibit emotional experience. His work on expressive writing produced a counterintuitive finding. People who wrote about emotional experiences showed improvements in immune function and long-term health outcomes. The writing did not change the events. It changed the body's response to having held the events without processing. Pennebaker called this active inhibition. The nervous system does not distinguish between suppressing an emotion from 10 minutes ago and suppressing one from 10 years ago. The cost is cumulative. The body keeps the books. The second thing that goes is the capacity to feel good feelings with any real depth. His love has become a concept he knows is true rather than a sensation he can locate in his body. The nervous system that suppresses negative emotion does not have a separate circuit for positive emotion. The same mechanism that turns down the volume on sadness and fear turns down the volume on everything. He is not choosing this. The system is doing what it was trained to do. Keep everything at a manageable level. Manageable means muted. Muted means flattened. The whole emotional spectrum has been compressed into a narrow band where nothing hurts too much and nothing feels fully alive. Adam Grant at the Wharton School and Corey Keyes at Emory University have written about a state called languishing. It sits between depression and flourishing on the well-being spectrum. The person in languishing is functional. He goes to work. He maintains relationships. He is not in crisis. He is just not fully there. His days feel like outlines rather than experiences. Keyes described it as the absence of mental health rather than the presence of mental illness. The man who shuts down lives in this bandwidth. He is just living at 60% of his capacity for experience and has been doing it so long that 60% feels like 100. He does not remember what fullness felt like because the memory was erased by the mechanism that erased the feeling. The deepest cost is the relationship the man has with himself. A man who has spent decades suppressing his emotional experience has lost access to the thing that tells him who he is. The emotional system is not just a feeling system. It is a guidance system that provides information about what matters, what is wrong, what needs attention. When it goes offline, the man moves through his life without a compass. He makes decisions based on what is expected rather than what he wants. He stays in situations because leaving would require accessing a feeling he has buried. He does not know what he wants because wanting is an emotional state, and he has trained himself to override emotional states before they deliver their information. He becomes a person who functions but does not live. Matthew Lieberman at UCLA found that the same neural systems used for social cognition are used for self-awareness. The brain processes the self as a social object. The man who has disconnected from his emotional experience has lost access to the neural system that tells him who he is, in relation to others and in relation to himself. The man who shuts down often cannot answer the question, "What do you need?" He has spent so long overriding the need signal that the signal has stopped transmitting. He can tell you what his family needs. He can tell you what his employer needs. But what he needs at the level of his own interior is a blank space. The sadness is there, underneath the shutdown, but it has been rerouted through so many layers of suppression that it does not look like sadness anymore. It looks like fatigue that sleep does not fix. It looks like irritability with no clear target. The feeling has been so thoroughly translated by the suppression mechanism that the original is unrecognizable. The loss of self-access creates a loneliness that has nothing to do with other people. A man can be in a room full of people who love him and still be cut off from himself in a way that makes their love feel like something happening to someone else. This is not loneliness of being alone. It is the loneliness of being unable to reach your own interior. The door closed to keep other people from seeing has become a door he cannot open even when he is alone. The people around him feel the shutdown before they understand it. They ask what is wrong, and he says nothing is wrong, and he is telling the truth as far as he knows it. The gap between what he is feeling and what he knows he is feeling has become so wide that the question lands as a puzzle rather than a prompt. his partner may interpret the shutdown as rejection. She reaches for him and finds nothing reachable. She feels alone in the relationship and attributes it to his not caring, because the alternative, that he has lost access to himself, is harder to see from outside. Two people in the same room, both alone for different reasons, neither able to name the mechanism that keeps them on opposite sides of a door, neither installed. John Cacioppo at the University of Chicago studied loneliness as a biological signal. He found that loneliness operates like hunger or thirst. It is a signal that something essential is missing. For the man who has shut down emotionally, the signal itself has been suppressed. He is lonely without feeling lonely. The biological warning system, meant to tell him to seek connection, has been muted along with everything else. Julianne Holt-Lundstad at Brigham Young University found that social isolation carries mortality risks comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. The body registers the distance whether the conscious mind does or not. The relational cost extends downward. A boy watches his father and learns, without a word being spoken, what manhood looks like. If manhood looks like a flat line, the boy internalizes that flatness before he has a choice. The father who cannot name his emotional experience cannot teach his son to name his. The skill that dies in one generation does not get passed to the next. This is not blame. This is transmission. The shutdown is an inheritance that keeps renewing itself in the next generation before anyone decides whether to accept it. The shutdown was a solution that worked. The mechanism formed because it was needed. It protected something that needed protecting. The boy who learned to close the door was not defective. He was reading the environment and responding with the best strategy available. He did what was required. The problem is not that the solution was wrong. The problem is that the environment changed and the solution stayed the same, running at full capacity against threats that no longer exist. The question is not whether the shutdown served him. It did. The question is whether it still needs to run at full capacity now that the environment no longer requires it. The door kept him safe when safety meant not being seen. The situation has changed. He is the only one still guarding the perimeter. The body has been paying for a protection that may no longer be necessary. The bill has been running for decades without anyone reviewing the charges.